going to take a journey. I'd like you all to join with me in this journey. Have no fear. We'll be connecting with the spirit realm, the animal kingdom, but have no fear. This is a happy occasion. We begin to walk 2 by 2, each of us in this group. We walk 2 by 2, silently, quietly, into the deep, deep spruce forest. Winter is just over. It's just beginning. Still it lingers on in the deep forest. We walk silently on the pine needles into this deep, deep forest of huge old growth spruce trees. It's quite dark in here. And there's magic in the deep, dark forest with these ancient trees and their energy they bring. Excuse me. Under one of these huge trees, a great brown bear has dug a den. And begins to waken with the smell of spring in the air. After his long sleep in his den under this huge spruce tree, he stretches, yawns, starts to move about and looks out. There's still snow on the ground, but his biological clock tells him it's time to wake up, time to start to move around. So he moves very slowly and lazily out of his den, stretches, looks around. There's no food here in the deep dark forest. But he remembers the succulent marsh grasses that grow in the estuary of the river. So he moves casually and slowly down out of the hills, down out onto the estuary, where the rank reed grass is growing in profusion in the early growth of coming spring. And he starts to eat the reed grass. And then he remembers that he needs a purge, because before he went to sleep for his long sleep, he ate a lot of soft clay. So he moves up around the edge of the forest where the skunk cabbage is beginning to grow. And he digs the roots of the skunk cabbage out and eats it by the pawful, because this is a wonderful purge for his system. He also digs out the roots of the devil's club, which is a huge purge, and he eats that, and he fills up on it. He doesn't have any drugstore to go to, but he has an ancient knowledge that has been given to him. And after he's filled with these purges, he moves back down onto the estuary and continues there. And there are other bears in the area doing the same thing. So he fills up on these. Sorry about that. That's my cross to bear. As with the spring comes the flies, all kinds of biting insects, swarms of them, that begin to disturb this peaceful existence. And he remembers that up in the high country, in the Alpine, there's a daily breeze blows over the mountain to keep the flies away. So he makes his way up into the Alpine, into the high country. There's plenty of food here. The marmots, the ground squirrels, sago lilies, and a dozen different types of plants that he can eat the roots. But mostly he lays out on a promontory where the long winds blow and gazes out over the valley. Life is good. After a month or two of this beautiful lazy existence up in the Alpine, he remembers in mid to late summer the berries ripen, all the succulent berries, a dozen different varieties. So he moves down into the edge of the timber and he starts to feast on the berry crop. There's salmon berries, huckleberries, blueberries, cranberries, so many more. And he spends his lazy days in summer, late summer, filling up on this berry crop, which is all his for the taking. As summer begins to move into fall, he remembers the silver hordes of salmon that come back to the river every fall. So he moves down off of the mountains, back down to the estuary, and here there's an excitement in the air. There are many, many of the animal kingdom here, all with anticipation, all watching and waiting. There's the seals and the sea lions. There's the otter. There's the mergansers. There's dozens of other bear. There's wolves. All waiting for the return of the salmon. There's a quiet excitement filling the air with anticipation. And then, one morning, as the tide starts to come in, there's a splashing and a thrashing in the water. And the salmon are returning. And the carnage begins. The largest bears hit the prime fishing poles. And the eagles and the ravens, the crows and the seagulls, the otter all gather around because the bears kill the fish, rip the spawn out, and discard the rest. And that's when all the smaller birds and animals of the animal kingdom move in for their feast. And this goes on and on and on. Nature has provided this feast for the animal kingdom with Mother Earth's knowledge that there's this season is coming to an end. It's time to withdraw up into the dark forest, find his den under the great spruce tree. He pulls out the old branches and the old limbs and brings in fresh branches to make his new bed for the winter. He crawls into the den, closes his eyes, and he sleeps, he sleeps, he sleeps, he sleeps. And now we join hands again and continue our journey, 2 by 2, holding hands. And I'm going to lead you on a strange journey, a journey underground, where the animal kingdom live in spirit. So we join hands and we walk through the dark, deep forest, 2 by 2, quietly in wonder of the majesty and the magic of nature. As we walk out of the forest, we come to a high escarpment, a stone escarpment running as far as we can see through the forest. So we follow this escarpment and we come to a huge cave. The opening is huge, but you can walk into very easily, 2 by 2. And we come to a downgrade on a path. It's very dark in here. But there is an illumination of a strange kind here. It's not totally dark, but it's what we call darkness visible. And we can see our footing and so on, and it's a well-worn path here. Because this is the paths that the animals take when they die. The animal kingdom follow this path. It goes down, 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 curving down deep into the earth. We begin to feel the magic of this place. First of all, there's the darkness visible, but there's an energy down here, underground in the earth, that we've never felt before. And after a long trek, we come to a huge amphitheater. This amphitheater is huge, even bigger than a baseball dome. And there's a huge body of water in this amphitheater underground. And the water is very still, mirror still. And there's a sand beach around the water. And we all spread out and separate. And we sit in the sand facing the water. We sit quietly in wonder of this magic place. And out on the far side of this huge amphitheater, members of the animal kingdom begin to appear. They float in the air out over the water. There's the insects, there's the snakes, the lizards, there's all the two-legged, the four-legged, spirit all come floating out over this calm, calm water, floating in the air, well above the water, silently and watchful. And as they begin to gather, they begin to increase in numbers until there's dozens and dozens and dozens of the various variety floating in the air. And they're curious about us, and they're viewing us as we sit in the sand, watching out over the water. And now is the time that we send a message out to this great numbers in the animal kingdom. Animals of spirit, the animal kingdom. Choose me, choose me. Come to me, walk with me through my life. Influence and guide me with your ancient knowledge and your wisdom. I ask this of you. Please come to me, come to me. Come sit by me. Come present yourself to me, and I will honor you for doing this for me. This journey that I do through this life is sometimes a troubled journey. Sometimes we need a strong companion. And that's why I call on you. Perhaps you, the butterfly. Perhaps you, the snail. Come. Walk with me, talk with me. Perhaps you, the killer whale. Perhaps you, the sperm whale. Perhaps you, the dolphin. Perhaps you, the elephant. Perhaps you, the donkey. Perhaps you, the horse. Perhaps you, the doggy. Perhaps the wolf. Perhaps the tiger. Perhaps the puma, the cougar. Whichever of you choose me, I will welcome you. Bless you. Volunteering to walk beside me through my life. I promise you that I will always honor you and love you for as long as you walk with me. Bring love and light and happiness